this week on Metafix, I have to take a step away from a hardcore game. But I am still talking about being better at this game as a whole. Something recently happened. For those of you who follow Glass Cabinet Film, Ryan has made it very public that an incident has occurred. No names are going to get mentioned. They don't deserve their names being mentioned in public. That just gives them strength and gives them notoriety. They don't deserve it. The people who are involved in this do not get that kind of notoriety. The person involved in this issue, we'll say was a female, who decided to go on a long tirade on a now closed Heroclix channel, insulting Ryan Morgan, a good friend of ours, a good inspiration for us. Without Ryan Morgan, there is no Married with Clix. And has decided that Ryan Morgan was some kind of villain, and Amber is ugly, not married, and a whore. What are you... I think this person... I don't know. They acted out of rage. They acted out of unacceptable anger. And there's a certain stage in youth where you do act out and you say things that you're going to regret later. But the unfortunate part, and I feel sorry for a lot of the youth, your outlet is public and permanent. So, I'm sorry, you done messed up. Now, I want to point out a couple things to this person. First of all, I want to start on Ryan Morgan's side. Ryan Morgan is probably one of the most positive members of our community. He does a lot of good for the game. He talks nothing but great things about Heroclix. He does a good job selling Heroclix. I mean, he's allowed to make money. It's his hobby, and he's found a way to make money with it. We tried opening up an eBay store, and nobody's bought anything from our eBay store. Our eBay store exists. But, I mean, he's managed to be very good at selling Heroclix, as well as enjoying the game. He does very good videos. His videos are much higher quality than ours. Ours are filmed on an iPad. His are filmed on what's clearly a nice camera with nice audio equipment. So the only time you can say his video quality is even remotely questionable is when he's doing Google Hangout. And you cannot do that very well with a high quality camera. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are or if you have a lot of money and can do it. Okay, I don't want to hear about that. We understand. There's high quality cameras. Get over it. And high quality internet. What I do want to get into is the fact that whoever this person was, and whatever reason they had to do it, they directed their anger in completely the wrong direction. Ryan Morgan is a positive member of the community who has nothing... I have nothing bad to say about Ryan Morgan, period. I have spoken with him on Google Hangouts. I had him on our show. I've been on his show. I rescued his show. I tried to rescue his show when his internet was failing when he was talking with Jake Williams. We get along very well, me and him. We've spoken several times, and I have nothing but positive things to say about him. My wife, of course, I also have nothing but positive things to say about. And that's not just because she's behind the camera as a head to talk to for this video. I love her deeply. Now, a couple of the things this person said were very unacceptable. One of them was with regards to my wife's looks. If you want to set things back in time a little bit, you can go back to the 30s and go get rid of the right to vote. I mean, if women are going to objectify each other, how can the feminist movement move forward? You know? I mean, they don't have great strides to move forward, but when you set it back like that, how are we supposed to accept that? But that's neither here nor there. Her personal attacks at my wife with regards to her looks, completely unacceptable. There's no reason for it, regardless of what costume she was wearing or whether you think her body type was right for the costume. Get bent. Seriously. Get a clue. Alright? By saying that out loud, you've actually made yourself 100 times uglier than you actually think you look. It's one of those things is, I can find a woman visually attractive a lot. I can find a man visually attractive. All it takes is the wrong thing coming out of your mouth, and all of a sudden you're ugly. Man or woman. Like I've seen attractive men just get really ugly by saying something really dumb. Okay? It doesn't take much to make yourself really ugly. Now that said, I want to move on to this person questioned our marital status. Right now, Amber has it as her status on Facebook because this person decided to Facebook stalk my wife, that she's engaged. Yes, we are actually having a marriage ceremony. But for the past 6 years, we have been legally common law married. Just because we didn't go through the ceremony doesn't mean we're not actually married. According to the government taxes in Canada, ever since our daughter was born and we live in the same house in a conjugal relationship, that's common law. We have a child, it's common law. It's actual marriage. You're going to have to just deal with that because by law, we're married. Just because we didn't go through a ceremony doesn't change anything. We're just doing the ceremony and there's an engagement process to that apparently. This is for her parents, not me. And then they decided to question my wife's ability to answer a question on the fly. There seems to be a few impatient people who are actually very rude on the internet. They'll ask us a question, and then I think this has been the only person who's reacted like this. They'll ask us a question. We'll offer what we can offer in the amount of time that we have. We do have 3 children. We had them in 2 sittings. We have a 5-year-old daughter who's around the corner from 6. And we have 2 twin boys, both at the tender age of 1 and about 3/4. They take a lot of our time. As well, I work 8 hours a day at a 9-to-5 job. That takes a fair bit of my time, plus I'm commuting part of the job. I do try to attend whatever of our social networking needs I can while we're on the bus. Amber does what she can while she has a little bit of a break from the kids. But a lot of what we try to offer the community is through our videos. If they're not enough, there are other avenues you can take. The WizKids event system has actually opened up a nice rules forum that actually might have a lot of questions with regards to what you have to ask. We aren't always available on the drop of a dime. If that upsets you, I'm sorry. This is We're Married with Clix is not our full-time job. We only have 600 subscribers. We're getting close to 1,000. So YouTube doesn't pay us a great deal of money. We don't see a great deal number of views because the Heroclix community is actually very small. We are not Magic the Gathering sized in community. We are not Yu-Gi-Oh sized in community. We're a big community, but we're not the size that people seem to think we are. So we don't get as many views, even though a large percentage of the community watches our videos. We walked into Canadian Nationals, and I think there was maybe 6 people who weren't watching our videos. And didn't recognize that our t-shirts were from the Married with Clix team. It's exciting for us. Don't get me wrong, and we're not trying to brag about it. But when you think about that size of community, and you make a comment on the internet, and you wonder why it got to us, the community's not that big. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. This game it's sizable. It sells well enough to obviously have lasted as long as it has. But the community isn't a massive community, and when you make a comment on the internet, it reverberates through the entirety of the community. Very rarely is it that I don't hear about something that has actually made a major breakthrough in the game, or a major idea somebody's come across, a major rules change, within 3 hours of it coming out. I have connections with a lot of people, but that's because this community isn't that big. Now, when you make one negative comment, that reverberates through our community. You get put on the wall with a wanted sign. You get a lot of people question anything you have to say. If anything questionable comes out of you. And a lot of that in this community is negative comments. People swearing at people, people cursing at people, people accusing world champions of cheating. I mean, get real, folks. When you make a negative comment, we hear about it, we laugh at you. You are the person on the street yelling at the cars like they're gonna eat you. You seem a little out of your mind. This is a game that has been built from the beginning on sportsmanship. From the onset, competitive Heroclix has had something called the Fellowship Award. Fellowship Awards are intended to go to the person with the best acting and sportsmanship. Now, if your venue isn't doing that, they're kind of missing the point. They want people to play the game and enjoy the game. And the person enjoying the game is generally the person who will get fellowship. You're having a lot of fun. You're laughing with your opponent. You're laughing off that critical miss. You're having a great deal of fun playing the game. And that's supposed to be who gets fellowship. Not the person who's dropping F-bombs at his opponent across the table, accusing them of cheating, or doing acting in any of those sorts of ways. We need to pick up the positivity in this community. I used to think HC Realms was the worst community on the internet with regards to Heroclix. It's the second worst. Facebook Heroclix groups are getting out of hand. And what's worse about that is the Facebook Heroclix groups Heroclix groups are not anonymous. We know who you are. Most people use their real names in Facebook, and if they don't, well, then they've obviously got something to hide and are probably going to act inappropriately. But when you use your real name and attach it to something, it reverberates on you. Not on HC Realms, not through Reddit, because those two are anonymous and they're not as bad as a lot of these Facebook groups. These Facebook groups have got to get under control. Now, admins, I'm not asking you to kick out anybody who swears. But what I am asking you to do is pay attention to a lot of the conversations and steer the conversations in the right direction. Now, a lot of the people who play this game are young and still, there's a lot of new people coming in this game, you know? People under 20, people 21 and under, up to 27, you're prone to some major bouts of rage. And a lot of the times, guys, you know, when you go out in this public forum and you use the thread to yell at, that's like being in the middle of the bar and yelling at people, man. Step outside, step aside, talk to each other, man. Go into a private chat and see if you can't work out your discussion. Because let's be brutally honest, guys. When you do that on the Facebook walls, you are getting made fun of by everybody off to the side. We are looking at you going, look at these guys. We're taking screenshots of the ridiculous conversations you're having. And we're kind of chuckling to ourselves. But at the same time, you don't make our community look very good. Be a positive member of the community, guys. Add to the community. I've been prone recently. Recently, I had a bit of a tirade with some people with regards to some comments they made about a Heroclix thing I did. I stepped aside and said, you know what? What I said was a little ridiculous. I spoke to all the members involved, and I said, you know, we're just going to start from scratch. We're going to repost the posting for the tournament. Let's forget all of this happened. I'm prone to it too. But if you're not able to step back and say, I messed up, then you're not really doing much for yourself. If somebody can take a comment you said, and your first reaction is, I said that was taken out of context, you're defending yourself for something that's actually pretty terrible. Think about that. If you have to use the words, that's taken out of context, and not be laughing about it, you know, like when you turn around and say, I was teabagging the cup with my tea bag because I was drinking a cup of tea, well, that's taken out of context. But when you say an offensive word in a conversation, and somebody says, and you say that's taken out of context, well, what good context were you using that word? That's something you really got to think about. Now, people make mistakes. I do understand that. And there's a way to come back and say, look, I made a mistake. And that's the first step, is admitting wrong. The second you admit wrong, that's when you know, as a human being, that you've actually done something that needs atoning for, that needs fixing. And that's the first step. If you go on and say, look, what I said was taken out of context, and you know, you try to still play the high ground when you've messed up and you're trying to apologize, you're not doing it right. Okay, guys? Now, that's all I'm going to say about this at this point. Let's try to build ourselves better as a community, keep the sportsmanship going. Judges, I insist, bring the Fellowship Award back to what it used to be. Make it a sportsmanship thing. Make the players vote on it. I don't care if it becomes a favoritism thing after a while. You as the judge do still have the final say. So let's bring Fellowship back to the game, not just on the table, but let's bring it back on the Facebook groups, on the HC Realms, in every aspect. I was going to say the Reddit, but I have yet to have a problem with the Reddit groups. Guys, I just want to say thank you very much for listening. I apologize for the tirade, but let's not let something like this happen again in our Heroclix groups, okay? Let's think positive, and remember that there are a lot of positive members of our community who don't deserve anything like this.